Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to episode 703 of the DrunkNerds podcast. I'm host, as always, I'm Tyler, and join me with the man, the myth, the legend himself, Sir Colonel Gables. What's up, buddy?
I'm still hanging in there, Tyler.
Yeah.
Still hanging in there, dude.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. What's one of the funniest things is like when we record this late at night and stuff like that. I mean, it takes a toll. I mean, literally the end of our last episode, we just lost our train of thought and stuff like that on a bunch of pregnant pauses.
Yeah.
So it's like, what's gonna be happening on this episode? I have no idea. It's time to play the roll of the dice.
Yeah. Yeah. We're doing our top 10 games of the year. Minor spoilers, I guess, we already tell you that we're doing them back to back. We already did part one. We're doing part two right after this. That way, Gables and we get the week off. Gables and we're just two guys who do this for fun. We do this in 2013. But yeah, we don't make money off this. We just do it because we like video games, like talking about them. But yeah, we only ever get like 2 weeks off a year, and it's literally we take like the week of Christmas off, and then we usually take like the one of the first weeks of January off. It's really stupid how this is set up. Then we get 2 weeks off a year, and they're like all within like 3 weeks of each other. We gotta figure that out. But anyways, yeah. So we are recording late. It is 1:16 a.m. My time as we're doing this. And it's like 11:15 for Gables, so it's very late. I've been drinking as well. Nothing. I still I ate Domino's 12 hours ago, and I can still taste it in my mouth. I brushed my teeth. I've done mouthwash. I've drank multiple Pepsis. I
The
drank a
gift that keeps on
Powerade.
giving.
Yeah, I'm on my third or fourth beer. I don't even remember anymore. And all I could taste is fucking Domino's pizza, and it sucks. It's terrible. Anyways, though, this is the Drunk Nerds podcast. Gills and I get together every week, talk about video games, everything I love about them. We are on every podcast service. We are on YouTube. If you guys want to support us, we really appreciate it. If you can do that for us, just by hitting that subscribe button, the like button, the follow button, whatever you are, whatever platform you're on, just do the thing that helps us out in the algorithm. You heard it from everybody else. If you can just do those, that would be fantastic. And just $1 a month, you can support us on YouTube. And it'd be nice if we did that. But anyways, this is part two of our game of the year. We did a 10 through 6 already on last week's episode 702. And this is just, we're going to do 5 through 1 and honorable mentions as well. We'll just do a quick little recap for people that in case maybe, it's only been a few minutes for us, but it's been a week for you guys if you listened to it when it came out. But yeah, so the number 10, we're going to run through, we'll do Gables' 10 through 6 here first. Number 10, Marvel Cosmic Invasion. Number 9, Shinobi Art of Vengeance. Number 8, Tony Hawk Pro Skater 3 plus 4. Number 7, Mario Kart World. Number 6, Sonic Racing Crossworlds. My number 10, Keeper. Number 9, Megabonk. Number 8, Hades 2. Number 7, Upsalem. Number 6, Ghost of Yote. Easy for me to say. All right, Gables, without further ado, let's kick it off with our top 5. What is your number 5 game of the year, Gables?
All right, this one's going to come as no surprise for you and I and stuff because it's something that we played back in 2025 and we had a lot of fun with, and that was Split Fiction.
Oh,
Dude, that co-op game was pretty fucking awesome, though. I mean, a lot of the different types of like scenarios we got into because of the dream sequences. I think one of the more favorite ones that you and I kind of encounter is like the little nod, the callbacks and stuff to like the past previous games. Like
oh
say
yeah,
like
with
oh
the
God,
elephant.
which one? Yeah, the elephant and stuff like it takes two and stuff
Yeah,
like that. What's it
playing as the
like?
pigs.
Yeah. Oh yeah, freaking the fucking pigs and stuff like that, and like freaking going to that fantasy world and stuff and getting cooked like hot dogs and all this other shit.
Yes. Yeah. Yes.
But I did like the character dynamic between the two different like lead characters and stuff, and like their subtle realization that this company and stuff is using a bunch of these dreams from people to fuel something even more kind of like sinister in terms of their stuff, and they don't really give a shit too much about the people themselves, but more so about the energy that a thing kind of like creates with what they are like sucking out of people's minds and stuff like that for that shit. So there was definitely some fun stuff. I do remember some bits and portions because we pretty much played a lot of Extra Life in 2025 with Split Fiction. Obviously, I had an emergency that I had to go to, and we couldn't really get to finish up what we started and that types of stuff. But when before we left off and stuff like that, I do remember that you and I pretty much were inside the future into this futuristic sort of world and stuff like that. We're playing like this game show thing with this one robot and stuff. We're just passing the
Yeah,
damn grenades like back and forth
that was
between one another.
good lord, that was awesome. I think the last thing we did was like we did that Mega Man like type level.
Oh yeah, that's right. That's right. I think it was like a Mega Man type of level. They were both like motorbikes and all this other shit and stuff.
Yep.
If there's one thing I could say about that the guy that creates this game, Joseph,
Ferris.
oh, Ferris and stuff like that, this dude loves his moments. He loves these set piece moments and stuff that once you experience it once and stuff, I mean, it leaves a lasting impression. It did for like A Way Out. It did for It Takes Two and stuff, and obviously for like Split Fiction. Yeah, this is front and center because the epic moments and stuff of you like say getting cooked on a freaking grill and stuff to be served as a hot dog, or like you go into this gigantic like freaking obstacle course or something, or even the most epic moment I think for us is like when I found out that literally I could propel myself with my own farts as a
Yes.
pig and just go flying
God.
off the thing.
Dude, we did it for like 20 minutes. We were still laughing hysterically about it. It was the stupidest thing.
Dude, it was the stupidest thing, and what was most hilarious, I kept on doing it like right in front of you, so you're just seeing me like fly across the street like
I like there was that. Remember, like there was that part where like there's the guy, there's the pig in like the brick house, and you need to knock it down, and then it ends with us going into the meat grinder, becoming the hot dog.
Oh, oh my God. Yeah, that was just really kind of fucked up,
Yeah,
dude. I mean, we're playing this big old fantasy and all this other stuff, and all of a sudden, these are supposed to be like the thoughts, like the things of a child, right? Of this one of the protagonists, right? And so she likes this fantasy land, this and that, like nursery rhyme stuff. And then all of a sudden it's like we're transformed to hot dogs and we're put through a gigantic like friggin' meat grinder to be turned into hot dogs. I'm like,
yeah.
Jesus Christ.
Oh man, that game was so good.
Oh my God, it almost reminded me of the whole friggin' aspect of It Takes Two and stuff with like where both the husband and the wife are tearing apart this freaking elephant.
Oh yeah, yeah. God, one of the most fucked up moments in gaming history.
I know. I know, right?
Oh man.
But yeah, man, it's like Split Fiction. Most of that game was fantastic. It really is fucking regretful I did not have a chance to finish that game with you when I did, because that was definitely one of my top five for last year because there was so many fun moments. There's so many epic type of things that was inside of it too. But yeah, number five, Split Fiction.
Well, let me know, Gables. I'm always down to go back and finish that game. So, uh,
I know.
yeah. But anyways, my number five, another number five that man, when I finished it, I was like, God damn, this might be my game of the year. Um, and here's number five. It's kind of crazy. Another PlayStation exclusive.
Hmm.
From one of my all-time favorites. Probably know what my all-time favorite video game director, Death Stranding 2. Gables knows the history with Death Stranding, where I hate played
Oh
that
yeah.
game, and he had to listen to me rant for that game. He still listens to me rant 6 years later about that game. But like just like my hatred for that game, but still I hate playing it because I love Kojima so much. But like going and finally playing Death Stranding 2, I waited like I found out in like May my job was closing down in September, and I was like, all right, like I was gonna like I'm saving Death Stranding 2 is gonna be my layoff game. Um, it's kind of like past time and help me kind of deal with the whole process of getting laid off and all that. And it did not disappoint me. It was kind of a game I needed at that perfect. Like I always thought about like sometimes games just hit you are better just because like the time and place it hits you. And like Death Stranding 2 was definitely like the time and place of like I needed a game like this of like just like uh a game that like just I took time is like I felt like Kojima and I kind of got divorced during Death Stranding 1, and then like Death Stranding 2 we renewed our vows and we got back together. It was just like I needed Kojima, I needed him in that moment, and he did not disappoint. It's crazy to me, like Metal Gear Solid 5 is like one of my most disappointing games of all time, but simultaneously one of my favorite games of all time. Um, just because of the story aspect, but the gameplay is phenomenal. And it's just
Right.
10 years later, after that game came out, it's like this guy made one of the greatest stealth action games ever made. And I'm like, does he have anymore? Is he washed? Was it Konami all along? And then couldn't find, no, he still got it. Like he made one of the greatest stealth action games 10 years later in this game where you deliver packages. And like, it's just, I feel like they took all the best things from Metal Gear Solid 5, and that was the gameplay. They took all the best things about Death Stranding, which was like the lore and the world and the environment. And I feel like the characters too. And just combine them together, and it's just like, okay, Death Stranding was like he went a little hardcore with like the walking part of it and like how difficult it could be, and I get people love that for what it was, but I was like, I didn't vibe with that. But to me, like this was just like the amalgamation of all the things I loved about Kojima and one. This was like his magnum opus. This is like maybe one of my favorite games he's ever made ever, and this is a guy that's made five of my favorite games of all time. Already, Metal Gear Solid 1 through 5, and it's got all the like things I love about Kojima. It's like all the dumb bullshit over explaining of things, the weird camera cuts, the long cut scenes that go on forever, but you're also simultaneously like, I'm not even looking at my phone. I gotta watch this. This is fucking awesome. Like just things that nobody else can do but him. But also at the same time, like there's all these like it was like a weird like I almost felt like he was like if you would have told me this was the last game ever, I'd almost kind of believe you because it's like there were so many like he's like I gotta get all my shit in here because it's like there's so many callbacks to like Metal Gear Solid, some like a lot of subtle ones, and a lot of not so subtle ones. The entire like last like I would say like section of that game is just like he is like recreating moments from like some epic moments from Metal Gear Solid, like all the way to like the final boss fight, fighting on top of a giant fucking BB that's like literally recreating the fight from Metal Gear Solid 4. You know, it's like doing that over again, like doing the kept you waiting, huh? Like there's so many moments of just like holy shit, like he's not even like trying to like I can't believe Konami hasn't sued yet. But it's like for someone like me
Eh.
that like I know it's goofy and stupid to put like some people and like practically like you would have a real conversation about like yeah dumb it doesn't make any sense. I don't care. All right, let me I don't fanboy often, and I feel like I am cautiously aware of how like about being fanboy about like I overcorrect sometimes. I feel like when I'm fanboying about things, and this is one of those moments I don't give a shit. I know it's stupid. It doesn't make any sense. It was fucking awesome. Okay, it fucking ruled. Some of these moments, and like I get like people like the story like could complain about the story and some of the stuff. But it was great. Like one of the there was a cutscene like I talked about a couple of years ago, like Final Fantasy 16. There's a boss fight where I got so hyped, like I was so hyped up from like the cutscene, the moments, and the story and the song that I was playing during this like the Leviathan that I just started like crying just because of like this is so cool. And there was another moment in this, and like this happened again with Death Stranding 2, where there was like this big epic moment about 2/3 of the way through the game. Very long cutscene, like they make you like do this thing over and over and over again. And it's like I would almost like it's like basically recreation. Like I don't want to spoil that part. But it was a very cool moment from Metal Gear Solid 4 that happened in this moment. And like there's this huge like crazy heroic moment, and like there's this really touching part at the end of it, and I was just crying, like just weeping because I'm like that was fucking awesome. Like this is fucking video games. You know, this is awesome. Even though I wasn't touching the sticks at all, it was literally not video games. But it was I man. And then I'm
Oh.
talking, I'm like, man, maybe I should put this number one. I don't know. But anyways, can I change my game of the year? Like, already? No, I'm not gonna do that. Yeah, like I loved it. Like, I still have the complaints of like there's the Death Stranding parts of it that like I get frustrated with like losing like so much progress because you fell down. Like one part I got to like the top of like you had to get close to the top of the mountain, and I didn't realize that like I was like okay it's just on the other side of the mountain. I gotta go over and up down this hill. I didn't realize I was literally going to the top of the mountain. It was just gonna be a steep drop and flying and like with my RV and like flying like 300 feet and crashing, blowing up, nearly dying, losing all of my packages that I like drove around for an hour collecting and lost all my progress because I immediately got killed by a BB. Like that fucking sucked. So there's definitely those moments, but like yeah. Anyways, I love this game. This game is just like so stupid in all the best ways. But yeah, my number five is Death Stranding 2. Gables,
Oh.
what is your number four, buddy?
Okay, I'm just sorry, man. I'm just visualizing you having to collect packages around this game like a freaking hour only to get destroyed by some
Yeah,
fucking
I was like literally
machine.
watching my fucking RV like on fire, and like I'm just like like going around trying to figure out what like 20 packages on the ground, like trying to figure out okay, is this no, it's damaged, nope, that's damaged, and then a BB comes and like drills a hole in the mountain and kills me.
Oh my God. Talk about bad situations, dude. Oh, okay. So from a number four game of the year here, this is gonna be this is gonna be something right up my alley. And by right up my alley, I'm saying like collection of games. And
Okay.
there were definitely a bunch of different like collection of like say retro games and other types of stuff that were released over last year. One of which is my pretty much my favorite because it had me playing different types of fighting games that I never had
Oh.
a chance to play before or even like attempt to complete, and that was the Capcom Fighting Collection 2. Now there were a bunch of excellent games up like inside of this initial bundle from like Power Stone 1, Power Stone 2, you got Plasma Sword, both the Capcom vs. SNK games and stuff, and the Project Justice, which was like the sequel to Rival Schools, but also had its stinkers too, like Capcom Fighting Evolution. I put like about 40 hours inside of this collection, give or take, because I took my time through most of these games, literally playing through as each character, kind of similar to what I did with the Marvel like fighting collection, where I just went through every single game, played through as every single character, got the platinum trophy for this. This I played so much of and stuff that I got distracted with other game releases and I didn't finish up anything for Project Justice and for Capcom vs. SNK 2, which I will eventually, but I think I finished off with Plasma Sword going through a lot of the crazy ass stuff of that because this is a game I owned on Dreamcast like about 15 years ago and I ended up getting rid of it alongside the Dreamcast when I sold off a bunch of different things. And having played through the initial like how crazy ass like sci-fi as type of thing this game really is. It's really actually one of my more favorite kind of like underrated sort of 3D fighting games from that time frame because you had the Tekken games, you had Street Fighter and its own iteration stuff, and then Plasma Sword's kind of like the weird in between and stuff to where you had some characters that did appear in other fighting games, like Hayato. One of the main characters inside the Plasma Sword appears inside Marvel vs. Capcom 2 as a playable fighter and like stuff of that sort, but yet having a chance to play really for the first time like Capcom versus SNK, experiencing that, and then beating the entirety of like say Power Stone and Power Stone 2 with all the different characters. I understand why people absolutely love those games because they're like the Smash Brothers kind of like the Smash Brothers of the Dreamcast era, right? To where you have all these different party fighters and this and that. But they're a hell of a lot of fun, dude. I mean, last time I think I had a chance to play type of those like those type of games was on the PSP, and that's what kind of made me a little bit more excited when I saw that announced. And like, well, now I get the chance to play it on actual TV and not having to like literally look at like a 5-inch screen while I'm trying to play a fighting game. I mean, yeah, that's exactly what I want to do as a freaking as an adult in my late 30s, my eyesight kind of diminishing a bit. Yeah.
Right. We're old.
Okay. But yeah, Capcom Fighting Collection 2 is an excellent, excellent type of like reference or something. If say you're new to fighting games and stuff, you want to know a bit more of the past, or if you're kind of bored of playing Street Fighter 6 or Tekken 8 or like the Fatal Fury series or whatsoever, you want to try to delve into something like retro nostalgic, the Capcom Fighting Collection games, like whether it's the first one or the second one, there's a hell of a lot of great fighting games, dude. I mean, a lot of which were just locked on to like specific consoles like the PS2 or like the Dreamcast. And there was even like one game that was really much unreleased that was just locked on the arcade machines. That's Street Fighter Alpha 3 Upper, which that's a more updated version of Alpha 3 and it has different types of fixes that improves different characters, also has a little bit of like nerfs here and there for other characters and stuff, try to make it a little bit more balanced. But yeah, there was just other types of stuff inside of this collection in general just really made me happy. The different types of artwork from some of the original artists from these games looked absolutely fantastic. A lot of the different character designs for just the collection itself were fairly awesome. But yeah, Capcom Fighting Collection 2 is my number 4 game of 2005, 2025 because of the fact that a lot of amazing fighting games, a lot of fun times and stuff, and it just dropped at the right time for
Yeah.
me. So that's why it's number 5. I
Nice.
mean 4.
Number
4.
four. So yeah, I'm like, wait,
God damn it.
did I skip one? Number four. All right, my number four. Is a game that like I this is probably my biggest surprise of the year. Of just like a game that we knew about that I was like did not care at all about.
Mm.
And then like in the run up, I got more and more excited as I was hearing things about it. I just really, I mean, it's just also an era that I don't really care about. Um, and just a game that should not exist in this era. And that is Mafia: The Old Country. Um,
Oh wow.
yeah, like I just I love this game, and maybe I'm putting it on a little more of a pedestal just because it's just something that we don't ever see anymore. Like a bigger studio putting out like a double A game. Like double A games are
Yeah.
just like so few and far between anymore. But like I just love that this game exists, and not that it exists, but it's also like it's just an excellent game. Like they focus on it,
Hmm.
just like they focus on its strengths. It was like a $50 title. It was like I think about 10 hours to beat the whole game. It's not like a big open. There's like sections you can drive around, but you can skip all those. Like it is just a linear, old school, like 360 early PS4 era, type of game. And I just love it, like because like I said, they focus on strengths. They did not have like it's not like a bloated open world game. It doesn't have a ton of like we got to pad out the time. It's like no, this is like this. We're gonna focus like the best parts of this game is the story, Enzo's story. Going up from being like once again not like maybe not the craziest story and like it's like I mean it's a story like we've done in like every type of game like this where it's like you are you go from like being a nobody literally like a slave miner to like you escape and then you become one of the top like lieutenants of like the Torsori Tori Torisi family, like a mafia family. Like in like this is like 19 like 30s or something, Italy, I think it is.
Right.
Maybe
Right.
earlier than that actually. It's a prequel to the original Mafia games, which I have no like. I've never played Mafia 1 or 2. I played a good chunk of 3. And like I like that game, but I just didn't like the open world parts of it. And I just like the fact that like, hey, we're gonna like I said, we're gonna take away all that. And we're like I thought Mafia 3 the story was excellent. It just the open world was not good at all. It's like once again, we're not even gonna like try to make a great, like a truly great like game here as far as like the gameplay is like it is even the gameplay is like it is like a modern day like of like that 360 like it almost reminds me of like a um like Uncharted like 1 and 2 style like gameplay where it is like I would never say the combat is like top notch in that or like the stealth is top notch in it, but it's like almost like a modern day version of that. Of just like all right, cool, like it's just good enough, it's fun up, but the story and the characters is what drives you through it. And like I like the combat, like I said, it's fun enough. Like they really, but they focus enough on it where like the areas it's more like big scene, bigger moments, like kind of like the old school. Like it's not, like honestly, I think it just reminds me of like I think I love it so much because it just kind of reminds me of like Uncharted, like those early Uncharted games. Like we're gonna have some big set pieces, but also like, but it's like it's gonna be it's very linear. But like yeah, like I said, I love Enzo's story. I loved all the like side characters you meet. Like you really grow a relationship with them, even though you don't spend all the time with them. But like you do like you like all these characters. Like you love the story. You love like the enemies suck. Like the love story. Like I was actually like really into the story. Like the love story that was blossoming throughout the game. Like yeah, like I said, this is like I said, maybe I'm putting like I said, putting a little bit of a pedestal because like, man, like this game should not like this. Like, these games don't happen anymore. Like a big, like I said, a bigger studio putting out a smaller, like a smaller in quotations here, budget game. But like, man, like this is like the game like we've been raving about for years. Of like, instead of like trying to put like instead of being a double A gigantic open world game that's like overinflated with a bunch of shit, just focus on your strengths. Be good what you're like figure out what you're good at and just focus on those and like accentuate those things and make them better and fine tune those. And like this game, like I said, there's no fluff here. There's no like there's no like a million things. There's not like there's collectibles you can do, but like I didn't give a shit about that at all. Like it's just man, this game is like I think for what this game is damn near perfect. Like it is. It's probably one of those games forgotten 5 years from now. I hope I hope though in 5 years I'm wrong and it's like this was the catalyst to more of these type of games coming back. But yeah, like Mafia: The Old Country is just like it is everything that I loved like maybe it's a bit of nostalgia here, like I said, but like it is like everything I used to love about like 360 PS, like those early PS4 games, and like I highly recommend it. Like I think it's just me and Matt Piscatella, like screaming at the rooftops about this game, and it kind of bums me up, and also it's exciting the fact that there's. I'm happy I'm not the only one alone, but he might actually love it more than me. But it was his game of the year, so. But yeah, that's my number 4, Mafia: The Old Country. All right, Gables.
Nice.
We're gonna do. We can run through our honorable mentions here if you have any.
Yes, absolutely. I do have a couple of honorable mentions and stuff. I'm just pulling it up right now.
Okay.
So, like I was saying about collection stuff, I did play a couple of think of collections and stuff, one for the PS5 and one for Steam. what's kind of hilarious about it is the one on Steam is actually the one I actually played the most on Steam for last
Mm.
year, the last game in general, and that's 40 hours of Yu-Gi-Oh! The Early Days collection. When I first got my injury and stuff, and I can only use like one arm for a long while and stuff, I just played the early collection stuff, so I had a chance to experience some of these earlier Yu-Gi-Oh! Games, like on the Game Boy and like whatsoever. Some of them were like translated or something from ones that never released outside of Japan and stuff, and a lot of those ones were very hard and stuff. And when I
Yeah.
finally spent so much time beat those games and had a chance to play a bit of like Sacred Cards and stuff, I played some Sacred Cards, but I got so burnt out that I'm like, okay, I gotta take a rest from Yu-Gi-Oh for a while. Now since I have a Steam Deck, I have it downloaded on my freaking device. I could actually play it as it originally was intended, and that was a handheld game.
Yeah, there you go.
But the other collection was the TMNT, the Cowabunga collection. I played a little bit of that on the PS5, had a chance to experience like TMNT 3 Radical Rescue, which is pretty much kind of like a precursor to some Metroidvania games. This is like a Metroid inspired TMNT game, which is kind of hilarious when you think about it, but at the same time, it's hard as balls, and you pretty much had to go through this initial game like using a bunch of different save states because the different bosses can be a fucking bullshit because they're so hyper precise and stuff in terms of how you dodge and how you do this and stuff. But I ended up beating that game and really enjoyed my time with it. But there were other turtle games, obviously, like the fighting ones, the Tournament Fighter stuff. I tried playing through the original TMNT for the NES. That version of it, the one with the seaweed level, I actually went through and passed the seaweed
Oh
level
wow.
after about a couple different times and stuff because you have to be so precise with your button taps and stuff with your fucking turtles, and you have to race against a timer in order to try to get the initial things to turn off these switches so you can train some bit of this dam or something so you can go past. It was just that was probably one of the biggest highlights from that honorable mention stuff. And of course, the other honorable mentions are the Nintendo game stuff that I did have a chance to play, but I really didn't play too much of, like Donkey Kong Bonanza, for instance. Fantastic game. Obviously, one of the better like platformers to come out in quite a long while and stuff, but I only spent like maybe a couple of hours in between playing that and also try to play two or three other different games that released at the time because of how much of a glut there was for game releases and obviously real life plus other stuff pop up and you really don't have as much time, maybe more so than an hour a night sometimes
Yeah.
in order to try to play some. And then Pokemon Legends Z through A, this one's a little bit more surprising for me, only because I played through like a good solid. I want to say I played like a good solid like 15. I want to say 10 or 15 hours of this stuff. Enjoyed my time though, but I kind of just set it down, never got went back to it because of the holiday season. Obviously, everything else just started coming in all at once. So if there's anything I could think of from like the honorable mention stuff from what I've played, it's just more of a reemphasis of, man, there are definitely a hell of a lot of games that I need to play and that I need to stop buying en masse right now. And that's just the normal thing for me. I've had this problem for like over 20 years, for fuck's sake. uh, but yeah. What were your honorable mentions though, Tyler?
So when I put my list together, I had a little over 20 games on my kind of rough list here. Obviously, there was different, like it was a lot easier to take some of those off. I did actually go ahead and just rank 11 through 15 here as well. Um, Number 15, Chronos: The New Dawn. I had here just a really cool, like kind of like I'd say like a 7 out of 10, like Dead Space. Like I
Yeah.
actually really liked the game. I thought the game, like the story was pretty interesting. I thought the areas and like the horror part elements of it and the combat were really well done. It's just like the game is difficult, and I don't. That wasn't my problem with it. Like I enjoyed the difficulty of it. My biggest complaint was just that the checkpointing was like terrible, and there's like sections where I like have to like replay 15, 20 minutes areas to get back to where I was and then die and have to do it over again. I'm like, man, this feels like something that like we did like 20 years ago. PS2, GameCube era. I'm like, why the fuck is this still a thing? And like that was like my biggest complaint of like it probably like I would say a quarter of my time was just replaying through like entire sections over again.
Oh
Um,
my God.
yeah, but like, I still like the game a lot. But that was like my biggest like the biggest thing where like I had to like walk away on multiple occasions. It took me longer to beat that game just because I had to like walk away for a day or two because I get so pissed off. Um, by number 14, there's gonna be a bit of a theme here. Number 14,
Mm.
Outer Worlds 2. I really fell in love with Outer Worlds 1. 2022, I want to say I played that. I played through that game. 2023 maybe. I don't know. But like Outer Worlds 2 is just like I really Obsidian is like turning into one of my favorite studios out there. I thought this was like a really good game, like built upon like Outer Worlds 1. I love the idea of like the first game was like there's like two major corporations left, and like you're like battling and dealing with all that shit. And then Outer Worlds 2, the two mega corporations merged together to make one big mega corporation. It's just so funny that Microsoft technically published this game, but here in 2026. Yeah, like
Spoofing themselves.
yeah, right. It's like did they know that this is about them? But anyways, yeah, I really like the world and the story. I like the characters a lot. It's just kind of like it's just like a really solid like I feel like an 8 out of 10 like Fallout game. But like I love the fact there's just like it's not as bloated. I feel like as Fallout, and I think the combat's really good too. Like I'm not a huge Fallout fan, but I like that style of game. But I don't know, I never really fall in love with their gameplay. Next up here, Doom: The Dark Ages. Another game like I loved Doom 2016. Eternal,
Hmm.
I played through it. I liked it, but I didn't love it. And then like Dark Ages, I thought was better than Eternal. I I think almost maybe I'm like Doom 2016 was so great because it's one of the greatest games, like one of my favorite first person shooters of all time. And like I that game was so perfect for like what Doom is, and like I appreciate that like they try to make it different every time. They try to add more to it. And I'm like, man, the more I play this, I'm like, I think it's just like I just kind of want more Doom. Like honestly, it's like they like Doom Eternal. They try to like make it more platformy, and they give you the hook shot. This one they give you the shield, and it's more about like you like parrying attacks. And they have more open areas. And like they're not huge areas, but like they just kind of drop you in like a smaller map, and you gotta like you can do whatever you want. And like I just kind of want Doom 2016. Just kind of keep making that again. And I like the game. The gameplay is great. There's really no major complaint about like anything really, other than I don't not a huge fan of what they changed. Another Obsidian game, Avowed. Um, like I think my biggest complaint is like I'm just not a huge fantasy guy necessarily. So I was like way more excited for Outer Worlds 2 going into the year than I was Avowed. But I ended up like I played through Avowed. I did all the side quests. I nearly 100%ed every area. Like I just didn't get all the chest, but like I did everything in like the every area completely. I loved all the side characters you have with you. I loved all the different combinations you can have of like with a dual wielding of like weapons. Like you can have like like you do magic on one hand, you have a shotgun in the other. Just like all the different like ways you can play the game and like finding the things that work for you. Yeah, I really like that game. And then number 11, South of Midnight, just a really cool game that kind of came out like a game I was looking forward to. It's like a solid 7.5 out of 10, but like another game like I talk about like over like Mafia, where it's like it really like they had some really great things they did, but they didn't like maximize those. I feel like like they did a really good job with those, but there's one glaring issue for me in that game. But I felt like the art design was phenomenal. Like the stop motion, the music is like some of my favorite music in gaming this year. The boss fights are really fun and cool. The way they build up to it and the stories they tell. The biggest issue I had was like the combat was not very fun, and it was actually really funny in the accessibility parts. You can actually just turn the combat off. You can keep the boss fights, but you can skip all the there's no there's you kind of get dropped in arenas, and there's set points of like combat, and I just turn those off about halfway through the game. Like I don't want to do this. Like the combat is like it's not like terrible. It's just like it's not fun. So I literally I just
Oh,
turned
that's
off.
bad that they have a feature like that to where
Yeah.
it's like, hey.
Yeah, but I feel like the best parts of the game is the platforming and the story. Like everything else of the game is really, really, really good. And it's just like, man, this combat is just it's like it's not terrible. It's just very one note, and I'm like I don't care about this at all. Like I don't want to do this anymore. And it's like because I'm like everything else is great. I just don't like this. So that was like my one knock of like I was telling Gables a couple weeks ago. I'm like, man, number 10 was maybe the hardest 10 for me ever because like I
Mm,
was really fighting. And I was like, to me, the major difference between the main number 11 for me was like was just that the fact that I literally turned off the combat in the game. But like I said, the boss fights are really cool. The music is phenomenal. The art design, the music, everything else about the game is like
mhm.
perfect for what this game is. It's just that man, that combat was just not fun. But yeah, I thought it was funny. 10 through 14 for me are all Xbox games, so we're all Xbox first party games. So yeah, that is my honorable mentions. All right, Gables, let's jump into our top three. Gables, what is your number
All right.
three?
So my number three is the roguelike puzzle game Blueprints.
Oh, okay.
I'll tell you what, it takes a lot to get me invested inside of a puzzle game because I'm the type of gamer that I don't really play a lot of games that make me think, only because of the fact that when it comes to different types of games, I love my action games, love my fighting games, like I love like various parts of RPGs as well, don't get me wrong, but yet different like types of puzzles and stuff and try to figure things out by like writing notes or whatever stuff. I don't generally do that. Blueprints was one of those few games that made me adequately want to try again over and over. I played this game for over 10 hours on my PS5. I love the aspect of just decorating an entire room to try to see if you can get to like the room that's locked off and stuff like that because this man and stuff when he passed and stuff his grandson he tasked his grandson to try to figure out how to get to the room that it's inaccessible and stuff and you had to try to figure out your ways to not just create the different rooms and stuff but also try to like build a path and try to figure out okay how can I gain access to this room. Okay, so it's like some runs of this game that I had, I basically just created like entire like kind of like circle or something like with the first couple of rooms. I'm like, oh, okay, well I'm gonna do this and stuff. Well now I ran out of steps and stuff. I cannot advance any further, so I have to end my day in order to try to go and start it the next day, and then build up a little bit more to that where I started discovering bits and portions of stories, like different parts of the story and stuff through text like through different types of like notes that I'd read or different types of clues that I found. There was one clue that I literally had to use under like a in one of the different like of this particular type of room that develops photos, right? In this like hyper red light, but I can only have this room be lit up if I had flipped the switch and like did all sorts of various stuff in order to make sure certain portions were off and stuff, but I kept that room lit up and then I could examine a different type of like newspaper or something like that, or like a picture, and then all of a sudden find out there was a clue like, oh, there's an engraving of something that's near this tree that I can actually gain access to by before I start going into the initial mansion itself. And so it's just little cues, little bits of clues that you have to be fairly perceptive of in order to try to advance further. When I last left off on that game, I not only managed to try to make it like try to make it to like say the 10th like floor in terms of how I was creating like building my different runs and stuff like that. But I was figuring out, okay, there's these different types of rooms that will give me different steps if I go into a bedroom, for instance, or if I go into one room, one run, and then the same room in the next run, sometimes there are different things that happen. There will be different types of clues, there'll be different types of items that'll be presentable. Hell, there may be even like different types of ways that will spawn if I go back to a specific area, right? And so you have to really be fairly observant as well as take lots of notes because once you figure out what one thing leads to another and how you can progress a different way, you can do that to where you can make your runs like fairly quicker and then obviously uncovering bits of the stories and learning about how like you're like this is a little minor spoiler and stuff like you're pretty much your family's like a group of spies or something like that and you have to go through and try to figure out like how to gain access to this guy's fortune as well as going into that particular room that's like not like locked off and stuff but you have to do it while these different types of like groups are going to be chasing after you to try to eliminate you like they kind of did with your grandmother and this and that and so there's a little bit of espionage, there's a little bit of more secrecy and stuff, but all these different puzzles that you're completing and trying this, it's pretty much teaching you, oh, okay, this is how you're gonna try to teach yourself like being taught like how you can be like spy training, kind of similar to that, you know? It's but the biggest thing I got out of Blueprints and stuff was it took a familiar genre, which is like puzzle games in general, and they created like another type of spin by making it a type of roguelike game to where you could decorate different rooms, you can create different aspects, and figure out a whole bunch of different clues, but it's never the same thing twice. And you have to do that along the limitations of only be like a set amount of days. You have to do things in like a God, I think like about what 50 days or something of that sort. And when I left off, I think I was getting close to like the mid 20s.
Hmm.
And I still hadn't found my way going through that. But yet, Blueprints mostly is my number 3 game of the year is because it's something out of the norm of like different like types of indie games, which quite honestly, it's been more like a theme in 2025 where I was experimenting, like just playing a whole bunch of different types of games that I either like were indie titles or that were like kind of different from the norm and stuff because I was fairly curious about it. But yeah, that's my number 3,
Oh.
Blueprints.
All right. Well, my number three is another type of one of my favorite type of games to play, and that's kind of like a horror games. The game that is kind of like another game that's kind of blew me away from my expectations this year, and a game that like the further I got away from it, the more like I loved it. Like the more I thought about it, the more like I really like that game. I like almost like it more now than when I did when I played through it, and that is Silent Hill F. Um,
Wow.
yeah, like I was just like I've never been a Silent Hill guy. Silent Hill 2 was like the first real time like I played Silent Hill back on the PlayStation when I was like 6 7 years old. And I was too young and dumb to be playing through that game. And like going through Silent Hill 2 really blew away like that game. But like this one just being completely different. Like that one was like it was a remake, but they tried to make it a little more like Resident Evil-y as far as like the gameplay goes. And this one is like it almost Soulsy. I would compare the combat to. But like I just like I liked Hiniko's story of just like like I think it's like 1960s Japan of like growing up as a
Mhm.
teenage girl where basically like all the girls are just like you're just gonna be someone's wife, like you're like that's like your whole life, and there's kind of like a kind of almost like a women's revolution going on in this era, like we're on the cusp of a change there, but like going through and dealing with like that part of it, like not just wanting like almost like you're basically just like you're giving away to be like like to be someone's husband. You're not like almost kind of like a arranged marriage type of thing, and like dealing with that, dealing with her like they obviously Silent Hill games deal with some really messed up scenarios of things that are going on like this, like dealing with like her father is just like as abusive and an alcoholic, and like learning that backstory and just like reading the notes as you go. Like a lot of like well, like a lot of games, just like not especially horror games, like a lot of background stuff is learned and the lore is learned through the notes, and just like actually
Yep.
like reading those notes and like how fucked up and sad and miserable some of the stuff is, and then like the weird like scenarios of like she's hated because like the cutest boy in school was like her best friend, so like all the other girls in the school are mean to her and hate her, but also
Mm.
like and just like all the things that kind of grow of like the, the the visual of this game, like the red kind of like mist that happens in this game is like gorgeous and gross and scary as all hell. One of the literally one I would say one of the scariest games of all time I've ever played. As far as like moments of like me audibly like doing the and like the jump scares for like of this like shit coming out of anywhere. How fucked up some of the shit you have to do with your character as you go, jumping between like almost like the dark world. And like the light world, I guess, even though the light world's like really fucked up too, but like kind of use I guess a link to the past scenario, like situation here of like going through and like dealing with like like the deranged things like this game makes you do to Hinako. And like learning like first I'm like what the fuck's happening, but then like eventually as you go figuring out what the game is making you do and understanding like the lore of it, and also has one of the biggest holy fuck like story moments as far as like oh my god the last section gave me find out like this huge thing about Hinako that you've been doing the whole game and not realizing, not understanding was like insane to me. Yeah, like I said, like I thought the sound design in this game is great. Like horror games, like sound design is maybe one of the most important things to it. Like just the scares to it, the like the just the little things you can hear in the like in the background or far away. Playing this game with the headphones is great. Like for me, like I'm not a huge like I don't watch a ton of like dub stuff or anything like that. And if I do, I usually just do like I usually just turn on the English dub. And this is a game that I played like the first like chunk of it with the English. I'm like, this is not very good. And then I turned on the Japanese one, and I'm like, I fell in love with the story and the characters even more because like, so it's a point that like literally the woman that voices Hinako was nominated for best voice acting this year in Japanese,
Yeah.
even though you couldn't understand what she's saying, but like the way they do, like you can like I didn't understand a fucking word she says, but I can feel everything that she was saying. Like I can understand by her tone what was happening, and like it is amazing. And like yeah, like the combat is like it could be frustrating at times. It's like it's not great, but like it's like it can be frustrating in the sense of like, but like you're playing as a teenage girl, and it's like when she swings the bat, she's got like put her full force and all momentum into it. So if you miss, like oh I'm fucked. Like the the counterattack to this coming is gonna fucking suck. But like it is frustrating on that parts, but it's also like it makes sense because you're literally playing as a teenage girl. So I liked it from that as well. But like yeah, like this is one of the God man, like one of my favorite horror games ever made, and like I said, probably the scariest like horror game that wasn't just like you're just kind of like a walking Sims style horror game that I've ever played. So yeah, my number three is Silent Hill F. All right, Gibbs, we're getting the home stretch here, buddy. What is your number two?
So, like I was saying before, a lot of this past year for 2025 was more or less playing comfort games and stuff like that. And so, my number two is a comfort game in a sense to where it's like I love music, I love classic game music as well, and there was a time and stuff where I saw this game that was on sale on PSN. I'm like, you know what? I feel like I'm in the mood to play this now. And it was Theat Rhythm Final Fantasy Barline. It was the game that was released a couple of years ago and stuff by Square Enix and stuff, but it's got the collaboration of all these different Final Fantasy music. I actually bought the DLC for the stuff as well, for like say Chrono Trigger and for Xenogears and all this stuff. It's just it feels so soothing. Like you can set a whole bunch of different character avatars or something. You can go and match different notes, and it takes a lot of skill to try to get the higher level stuff going. But yet, I love music rhythm games. And so, whether or not I was playing through a lot of the set lists, say for the original Final Fantasy, and just practicing on the different types of songs, or going through Final Fantasy VII and stuff with that type of like musical score and stuff, playing through One Winged Angel or stuff, or Genova or whatever the hell, or even like doing like the obscure ones, say like from Final Fantasy 16 or from 11 and stuff. They'd had all the different soundtracks for the Final Fantasy games, including like Legends and Final Fantasy Mystic Quest and stuff like that sort, you know. Some of the more niche things inside of the genre and stuff, but it was so much fun, like going through the complete set lists of all these different Final Fantasy games and just remembering a whole bunch of different like fun moments like the first time I played through Final Fantasy VI for the first time, or Final Fantasy 4 or 5, and then like rediscovering how much good of a soundtrack Final Fantasy 5 had because of this different scenario and stuff where I was doing a fight literally with my party on a bridge and stuff and facing off against bosses like Gilgamesh and this and that, you know. It's more of a rehashing of like all the different experiences I've played through that series. But what's so hilarious about it is if you go through and beat like a set amount of these playlists and stuff, you actually beat the game in and
Hmm.
of itself. The credits will roll and this and that and stuff. But what's funny enough is like this was my number two most played game on the PS5. Like I literally had like over 40 hours just playing this game. To no surprise, because I know Tyler has known me for quite a long while and stuff, and he knows I've played through a hell of a lot of the Persona dancing games and those fucking other types of Final Fantasy music games like on a 3DS and all this other shit. And so for my number two, it's Theat Rhythm Final Fantasy Barline because of the familiarity, because of the fun shit that you can unlock and stuff, and the different characters. Like you can have different like casts from the different Final Fantasy games and stuff. But yeah, that's pretty much it for me. Kind of
All
short and
right.
sweet, but yeah,
Yeah.
that's just pretty much what I like.
All right. Well, my number two is another game that like just kind of came out of nowhere. A game called well, not really nowhere, but like way better than I thought it would ever be. Dispatch. Just completely
Nice.
blown away. I am someone that like a huge fan of Telltale games and like was really devastated when that game or when that studio got closed down. And like yeah, I love like Life is Strange. I played through all the Telltale games and just like to kind of like have a comeback, especially after like the last Life is Strange being extremely disappointing. Um, and like oh my god, like in the Telltale games, like what the fuck's going on with them? Like is this kind of this era like these type of games just done? Then to have this game come out and like just I feel like really lit the world on fire, or maybe the gaming world on fire rather. Of just like this was way better than I think anybody thought it would be. Like I was saying on the podcast a while ago that like honestly I hope like I don't want a Dispatch 2. I want a season 2 of like a TV show. I want them to just make a TV show of this because it's like it is so well written. The art style is so great. Like it is just a really, really good story with a really great characters. Some like I mean, it's a lot of dumb humor that like I thought was incredibly funny. The characters are really great. I laughed one of the funniest games ever written. I laughed so fucking much. Punch Up is one of the funniest characters to me. Like the whole game of just like this like shorter like almost like an I don't know what's the fucking smaller guys in like fantasy called not trolls,
Dwarves.
dwarves. Thank you. It's 2 in the morning. Leave me alone. But like he's like a really short guy. And he's called Punch Up. But all like what he does, he's like really strong. He just punches everybody in the dick. And it's like that's like his like superpower basically. And just like his character of like just going around. And there's like I was telling Gables like there's a bar scene at the end of episode 5 that is one of my favorite scenes in anything ever made. It's maybe one of my favorite episodes in like any episode, like any singular episode of television. Is like one like I constantly go back and just watch that bar scene over and over again, like that bar fight that happens because it is so fucking funny. The cuts they do, all the like the stuff, the callbacks, like something like this, the jokes in there. The Z team is just of like these just like the worst of the worst as far as like there are a bunch of villains that are just bad at being villains and they're just terrible coworkers and like every dispatcher they have quits and you end up like being like Robert Robertson that just ends up being like like I have to take care of it and he won't like they're trying to like just being complete assholes to him and like just like kind of like obviously like the way things go as you grow with the characters and just like yeah my god I loved so much of the story. I love so much of all the characters are great. It's like it took me a little bit to beat the last level or the last episode just because I didn't want this to end. And like I said, like I would rather them almost make just a TV show and just do this more, just so I can like because I just want more of these characters sooner. And I almost even like if they can just make a TV show out of this and then have like just make a dispatch part of the game and just make a game of dispatch, I would love that because like I thought the dispatching stuff was a ton of fun. Like I was having so much fun like figuring out coordinating like all right like okay like these two would work together with this but like I always something there's so much time it takes them to get back and then they gotta rest and then like okay you gotta like so like just constantly coordinating like and then the resting time and like how far away things are and just I had so much fun like doing that and then the Beef who was Robert's dog just one of the cutest fucking things in video game history. My boy Beef, I just like every now and again I'll pull up a picture of Beef and I'm like oh man what a cutie pie I love that guy cute little fucker. But yeah, my number 2 game of the year, Dispatch. Man, just blew me away.
Nice.
But Gables, let's do it, buddy. Here we are. We are down to our number 1 game of 2025, buddy. Give it to me. What is your number 1 game of the year?
Oh my god, dude. I'm laughing so hard and stuff because you probably didn't see this coming from a mile away for my number 1.
I'm typing it out right now.
What? What do you think is my number 1?
No, say it.
I'll give you a hint. You're the one that turned me on to this fucking thing.
Fortnite.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is.
I literally typed it out. I knew it.
And and most specifically, this is Fortnite Chapter 11, The Simpsons.
Yeah.
So, let me put things into perspective here. While we were playing on Extra Life, Tyler comes up to me. It's like, "Hey, Gabe, it's like, you want to go ahead and like, you want to play some Fortnite or something like that, you know?" And you literally went through, bought a PSN card, told me, "Okay, go ahead and get the season pass here for this season and stuff like that, and do this and do that." And so I did that. And the first thing that we do once, I created my character, we went to the match. We won our first like 3 or 4 games.
3 straight, yeah.
Like 3 straight or something like that. But part of the reason why this particular portion of Fortnite is my game of the year for 2025 is because I fucking love The Simpsons, and there was so much crazy, stupid shit that you could do, from like going into the Simpsons house and stuff and sitting on the couch and recreating those epic like Simpson moments or something like that, to where they're all stuffing on the couch and stuff like that, and you have the family like, what the hell, like what? Or you go into different portions of the map and stuff, and all of a sudden you see these giant donuts just start dropping out of the sky and stuff, and just just scattering and smashing people. Literally me going and navigating this different area and seeing a player getting smashed by a giant donut. Or like going to different portions of the map and you're like seeing variations of familiar characters, but they're just kind of souped up versions to where they all freaking attack you. Like there's the Krusty the Clown like NPC or something like that that has this particular type of gun, and it's a type of gun where you use like you could shoot someone and like the balloons they start floating away. And so that came into effect when I was earning my first fucking win inside of Fortnite and stuff for the whole like the non-build sort of mode and stuff, to
Yeah.
where I was literally face to face with somebody. I was playing as my Joker skin and stuff, and I killed the Krusty the Clown NPC, and I actually got that gun. And so here he is, trying to drive, like trying to run me over. It's just him and I. I shoot his car, and his car goes flying inside the fucking air, and I'm like, "Holy crap! I can do that! Holy shit!" And all of a sudden, I just start just shooting his car. He just goes, just bails out of the car, and we just go into this epic sort of like back and forth to where I'm zooming up this mountain, he's going down the mountain. I'm going up the mountain, he's going down the mountain. And I'm like, and then until finally I get my first kill and stuff, and I got my first like first win online for anything Fortnite related, and just playing, just dancing and stuff to the freaking Aha Take On Me and stuff. I dance and shit and stuff. I literally saved that though, but like going to the different aspects and seeing how fleshed out that these guys at Epic made the Springfield look, that was fairly awesome. From Moe's Tavern to the Simpsons house, the Ned Flanders house and stuff, to facing off against different types of like characters and stuff like Evil Homer or something, or like Marge or something that was like kind of like a robot or some shit. And then like going into like say Moe's Tavern and stuff like that, and seeing various references of different episodes from like like past like early things of The Simpsons and stuff. And like there was just so many different like super awesome moments inside that. And also it got me incredibly hooked on the freaking music rhythm mini
Yeah.
game in that. So I spent so much time, like Tyler and I would just randomly just bullshitting while doing Extra Life. We started playing all these different music, and I really got into it to the fact that it's literally my top played game on PS5 last year, the Fortnite damn thing, and it was just me basically playing that damn Springfield mode before the season went out, and me earning every single unlock for like three different season passes because I love that season so much. And so I literally have like the costumes from like Ned Flanders and Evil Homer and like friggin' Homer in his underwear and stuff and all these different music that I unlocked. So literally I have one of those Sabrina Carpenter songs or something like
Yeah.
that paired off to Homer dancing or something like that in his underwear. It's just
Jesus.
oh man. I know Fortnite has been out for such a long time, and I know that this is not necessarily like, say, like a separate video game in its own right because it's been around for so long. This is more of like an expansion, pretty much of like a season pass and stuff. But at the same time, when I think about Game of the Year stuff, I think of various moments. I think of various like types of experiences that you can incur that pretty much gave you a lot of freaking enjoyment. I can tell you this, man, throughout all the various bullshit that happened in 2025, like either medically or personally or this or that or whatever, didn't matter whether it was sports or family or work related or injury related shit. That was probably one of the most positive things from last year. Freaking playing music stuff, like whether or not it was like for Aha or something, or freaking Beastie Boys or fucking Sabrina Carpenter shit. I mean, I didn't care. I just played through any type of different shit that I did. And then nonchalantly, like getting a battle royale type of victory, the victory royale shit to try to like on into the middle of Springfield while gunning down Krusty the Clown, like diving through the Simpsons house with some of the power plants floating inside the power plant in terms of that one various room, and then shooting a bunch of different players that are dressed up like freaking oh god, with different other characters like Naruto and Goku and Itachi and John Cena, just
Yeah.
it's just it's just an absolute crazy like oh god. It's it's a little like stepping into like a freaking chaotic, like insane asylum when you try to play anything like Fortnite related online because you never know what you're gonna find. You never know who you're gonna play against. I mean, it could be just some random Joe, or it could be Kai Cenat, or it could be whatever the fuck. And it's just that type of fun. I know I put off for a long time because okay, Fortnite, do this, do that. And it's like, yeah, it doesn't seem that interesting. Build a bunch of shit here, but it just takes really the type of IP or the different types of things that really get you into it. I kind of akin it to when earlier on in 2025 I got really into buying those Magic the Gathering and Final Fantasy cards. And I
Oh
still
yeah.
have a bunch of them like right on my bookshelf too, like displayed out and stuff. But yeah, I can legitimately say my favorite game stuff from last year, for my number one is literally Fortnite.
Not what I would have thought at the beginning of the year, or even
Neither
3
did
months ago.
I. Neither did
That's
I.
funny. That's funny.
So what was your number one, Tyler?
It's no surprise here.
Yeah.
I always make some notes here, some like talking points in case we get here. I'm like, okay, what do I want to say? And literally all I put was it's perfect. That's all I put for my game of the year. No shock. Clear Obscure Expedition 33.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not gonna spend too much time on it because like, what else is there to say that and nobody else has already said? Um,
Well, no shit.
I remember I talked about it. The day, like the first time I talked about it on the podcast, I was like 6 hours into it, and I was like, I was on the podcast. And I said, this game, I'm only 6 hours into it. I'm like, man, this might be one of my favorite games of all time, and like it has the makings of being that. And then lo and behold, yeah, it might be one of my favorite games of all time. It's definitely one of my favorite games of this generation. Probably might actually be my favorite game of the generation. Um, yeah, I don't know what else to say like that. Like I said, I was like, the music is like it's the best music in games this year. It's probably the best gameplay in games this year. Art design is probably my favorite this year. Like there's no real weakness to this game besides it just for the love of God needs a fucking map. It's like because I lost a good 5 hours in the game just walking in circles. 'Cause I didn't know where the fuck I was going. But I never got tired of the gameplay. The pairing felt fantastic. Lune's feet are chef's kiss, beautiful. Like I loved all of like Verso, Mael, like fucking, oh god, I loved all of it. Like I just listen to whenever I do the podcast, I put together the show notes. I'll kind of put stuff in throughout the week, and then I'll kind of put everything together, do a run of the show a few hours before we get on the podcast, and I always play like some video game music, and it's like I just every week for the last like 9 months I do this podcast. I go do the run of the show, and I just listen to fucking Claire Obscure music over and over again. Like that's like there's like a lo-fi playlist that's out, and I just been listening to that over and over again for several months now. Like it's just a game that just like I like. I don't replay a lot of games, and when I do, it's usually years later, and it's like right before the sequels coming out or something. And I've just been like sitting here, I'm like, man, do I just go again? Like I kind of want to go again. Like it's like that's how much I love it. Is like, man, I put 40 plus hours into it. I nearly 100%ed it. Like literally the only thing I couldn't do was beat the like real final boss. Like that's like the incredibly hard. That takes like 50 minutes to do. Like that's the only thing I have not really done in that game. But like, yeah, like I don't know what else to say that has been said already. So I'm not gonna go on too long about. But yeah, it's my game of the year. It's one of the greatest games of all time. So Clear Obscure, um, Expedition 33 is my game of the year. But yeah, we'll do a quick little run through here of our top tens here. We'll do Gables first. Number 10, Marvel Cosmic Invasion. Number 9, Shinobi Art of Vengeance. Number 8, Tony Hawk Pro Skater 3+4. Number 7, Mario Kart World. Number 6, Sonic Racing Crossworlds. Number 5, Split Fiction. Number 4, Capcom Fighting Collection 2. Number 3, Blueprints. Number 2, Theater Rhythm Final Fantasy. Number 1, Fortnite. My top 10 here. Number 10, Keeper. Number 9, Megabonk. 8, Hades 2. 7, Absalom. Number 6, Ghost of Yotei. Number 5, Death Stranding 2. Number 4, Mafia of the Old Country. Number 3, Silent Hill F. Number 2, Dispatch. Number 1, Claire Obscure. Expedition 33. Yes,
Nice.
Gables, that's going to wrap it up for our top 10 games of 2025. We'll be back next week for you guys. We're going to be we're off. Actually, we did 2 episodes in a row, so Gables and I get a rare
Yeah.
week off, which will be nice. Watch a lot of football next week. That'll be fun.
Yeah.
And then yeah, like we'll be back with a normal episode next week, talking. If I haven't it's literally the 11th as of we're doing this right now. If I have it correctly, we'll be coming back after the Xbox Developer Direct. So we'll probably be talking about that one. I will be doing a live react to that one if I'm able to. I should be able to for that. So keep an eye on that one from us. But yeah, we'll be back with a normal show next week for you guys. Getting back to the swing of things, talking about kind of like we haven't done a normal podcast in over a month at this point. So it'll be
Yeah.
kind of fun to get back to the swing of things. But thank you guys so much for listening to us in 2025. I know it's technically 2026 now, but we appreciate you guys. You know, whether it's your 703rd time or your first time listening to us or somewhere in the middle, we really appreciate it. Like, follow, subscribe, check us out on everything. We are available, every podcast service, YouTube, all that. Really appreciate it. Links down below. Like, follow, subscribe, join, all that stuff. Share with your friends. Really help us out with the algorithm. Leave a comment. But I was host. I was Tyler.
And I have been Colonel Gables. So until next time, everyone, let's have a great 2026, everyone. Play
Yeah.
some excellent games, watch some excellent TV shows, but most importantly, thank you for listening to another fun-filled episode of the Drunk-Nerds podcast.
Nate Gables.
Yeah.
Too sweet.
Too sweet, man.
Bye, guys.
See ya.